We are back after this Premier League has concluded, match day 37. And first, most congratulations to Arsenal, who have been a resilient and the best defense of the season. An Arsenal team that knew that this was needed, and it has been long due. But congratulations to Arsenal after a decade of waiting. But this Premier League that always creates headlines. But that's football. That's every sport in the world. But this Premier League always creating headlines, conversations, topics of discussion, so many things. And it had to be all the way to match day 37 so we can see this Premier League be actually concluded and look at its champion of 2025-2026 season. Arsenal, congratulations to them. But a Premier League that doesn't disappoint, a Premier League that is on match day 37, and it creates conversations. But for those that don't know, esto es pase ambidiestro. Ambidiestro es pass. Fútbol honestamente. Soccer, football. Honestly, a Premier League that is on match day 37. That saw Arsenal crowned league champions after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw by Bournemouth. And congratulations again to a resilient, the best defense of the season, Arsenal. The whole team and the fans kept pushing and showing the team resilience. That's what I can take, because yes, we did judge according on performance, but at the end of the day, as long as you keep steady and you believe in your game and it's effective, the progress shows, the results show that this Arsenal team is resilient, is the best defense, and they have done everything the right way to walk away with wins. And at the end, this Premier League title that was overdue for this Arsenal team. But earlier in the round, Arsenal had maintained their pressure at the top with a pivotal 1-0 victory over Burnley. With Chelsea, while Chelsea secured a 2-1 win against Tottenham in the final match of the week, with the title race already decided, the focus now just shifts on the final day of the season on May 24th, and which will finalize the remaining European qualification spots and the final league standings for those that are in the relegation zone. But this Premier League is on match day 37. It has been concluded. It was the only league that sought to be played almost to the last match day. Arsenal get their title after 22 years. But this league started with an Aston Villa against a Liverpool. An Aston Villa that won 4-2 against Liverpool. A very dominant win performance-wise. Aston Villa solidified their presence in the top four with a dominant display against a faltering Liverpool side. The Holtz rode a spectacular brace from Ali Watkins, alongside strikes from Morgan Rogers and Jack McGinn, they were all great goals, but McGinn's goal, it was a goal. It was a goal. While Virgil van Dijk just managed a brace of headers for the visitors. Statistically, Villa capitalized on the clinical edge despite Liverpool holding 55% of the ball or the possession. A result that puts severe pressure on the Reds' fading season hopes. Aston Villa is in 4th place and Liverpool is in 5th place. Yes, there is pressure on Liverpool. Yes, is another statistic is a defending champion finishing the Premier League with only 59 points it is a statistic that is there, and a statistic that you don't want to look at, of course, but statistics show proof of what things have been like during a season of performance, not only singularly or individually, as you want to say, but as a team. Those are numbers that, yes, you don't want to look at, but it's one of the lowest amount of points by a defending champions of the Premier League. But Liverpool sees European berth. Liverpool also confirmed their return in the Champions League, benefiting from extra performance plays awarded to English clubs by the UEFA based on overall league coefficient. As we know, Champions League will have 5 English teams due to how many English teams got all the way through the Champions League season to the last few rounds, from quarterfinal down, from round of 16 down. There was a lot of English teams, so that is a reason why Liverpool is seeing themselves in the Champions League next season, but they have to make sure that they are able to secure this spot, the 5th place, because they are just above Bournemouth with 3 points. So if Bournemouth wins and Liverpool loses next match day, 38, the last match day, things could change. But the goal difference again comes into play in this conversation. But we move on to a Manchester United against a Nottingham Forest. A Manchester United that won the Old Trafford 3-2 against Nottingham Forest. Manchester United edged out the resilient Nottingham Forest at a high scoring affair in the Old Trafford, and it kept their European hopes alive. Luke Shaw opened the scoring early before a second half strike from Matheus Cunha and Brian Bume that sealed the win, of course. And answering back to Forest's response from Morato and Morgan Gibbs-White, this crucial victory for United tactical resurgence, it leaves them intact, and they are not. They are just showing that they are able to compete and they are picking up rhythm, so they're intact when it comes to their strategy. And while Forest remains precariously close to the drop zone, with just 1 game left, it will be very crucial for them. And Manchester United is in the 3rd place, which is a great place. They're going to play Champions League next season, and it's showing that they are back in the fight for this Premier League again. And then Nottingham Forest that is in the 16th place. And Nottingham Forest that's going to see themselves fighting. Why? Because they are in the 16th place with 43 points. So they need to just win or tie to make sure that they stay. But in this Manchester United game, Luke Shaw, he has had a form this season. At Old Trafford, Luke Shaw returned to consistent high-level performance, having featured in almost all the games, if not all the games, 37 games. It has ignited a debate over his selection for the upcoming World Cup, with many sports commentators backing his inclusion. Yes, I believe he has been performing. Even when the guy has a bad game, he tries to give it all for that jersey, for that crest, for that team. He tries to give it all. So, yes, it's understandable. A lot of commentators backing up with his inclusion and how he has been performing lately. It is a player that you do want in the English squad, in the English national team, because he will give everything he can, and his numbers are showing. But at the same time, we have a Michael Carrick effect. Manchester United wins 3-2, of course, against Nottingham, and it highlighted a massive tactical transformation. Since Michael Carrick took charge, United have collected 33 points from 15 matches. the second best record in the entire division, just behind Manchester City this late season resurgence. Um, this has fans buzzing. Why? Because Manchester United has been in a dark area in the past few years, and they have not been competing for much of the Premier League. But it gives the fans a genuine, buzz for a genuine dream to challenge for the Premier League 2026-2027. So Michael Carrick, he has sent a shockwave for these Manchester United fans, giving them hope that they can be in the fighting positions for the next Premier League season. But then we move on to a Brentford against the Crystal Palace, a game that ended 2-2, a thrilling London derby. So Brentford and Crystal Palace shared 2 points at the G-Tech Community Stadium following an intense tactical battle. Ismail Assar and Adam Wharton twice put Palace ahead, but brilliant rescue act embrace from Altara ensured the Bees walked away with a draw. The match statistics reflect an incredible even contest, with both sides registering precisely 8 shots on target together. Brentford is in 9th place and Crystal Palace is in 15th place. Then we have a Everton against a Sunderland, a game that ended 3-1 in favor of the visitors, Sunderland, and Everton that loses at home. Sunderland pulled off a stunning away victory in thoroughly outplaying Everton to secure 3 priceless points. The locals went ahead through roll before second half. Goals from Brian Bradbury, Enzo Lefebvre, and Wilson Isidore completely took the game away from the Toffees from this Everton side. Statistically, Sunderland clinical counter-attacking was the difference, catching out an uninspired Everton side that lacked any creativity spark. And Everton that is in the 12th place, and Sunderland that is in the 10th place. Then we have a Leeds United against a Brighton. Leeds won 1-0 at home. Leeds United secured a massive greedy victory at Ellen Road to aid their survival bid against a dangerous Brighton side. The match looked destined for goalless stalemate until Dominic Calvert-Lewin turned home a dramatic winner in the 95th minute. This guy has been in clutch for Leeds. He has been scoring. He has been helping them. He has sealed the wins. And sometimes he has just leveled the game, which is a very, very needed thing. But this guy has been on form for Leeds. And it's one of the reasons why Leeds has been able to stay in this Premier League this season and be able to play Premier League football next season. But despite Brighton dominating 66% of the ball possession, Leeds held firm defensively to secure a clean sheet that could prove defining for their top flight safety. Leeds is in the 14th place and Brighton is in the 7th place. Leeds is definitely staying in this Premier League. But again, Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been a reason. He has been a reason why. Statistically, he has been the guy, the top scorer of the team. And he has come in key moments more than anything. But we know that there is a fresh injury concern for Leeds after the player was forced off the pitch and taken away on a stretcher during the greedy 1-0 win against Brighton. So Leeds see one of their players go into the injury list. And season is done. But you always want to finish in the best condition you can. And most likely, Statch will not see World Cup football. But then we move on to a Wolves against a Fulham, a game that ended 1-1. And Wolves and Fulham fought heavily in a contested draw in a mid-table clash at Molineux Stadium. Matheus Mane put Wolves ahead midway through the first half, but a quick response right after the break by Robinson just restored parity for the visitors. Neither side could find a late winner in an aggressive fixture that feature a high volume of tactical fouls and stop-start play. Wolves are in the last place, 20th in the Premier League, and Fulham is in 13th place. Then we move on to a Newcastle against the West Ham United. A Newcastle that won 3-1 against West Ham at home. A Newcastle that saw themselves struggling through the middle of the season, but then they have picked up the slack lately because they are wanting and willing to play Premier League football, so they know what they have to do. But it was the Newcastle that might not and will not be in Premier League football next. In European football next season. But a Newcastle United that punished West Ham at St. James Park, severely deepening the Hammers' relegation anxieties. William Osula stirred for the Magpies with the excellent double after Nick Woldmate's early opener, completely eclipsing a sensational screamer from West Ham's Valentin Castellanos. And Newcastle just controlled the game with 14 total shots, keeping themselves firmly in the hunt of European spot ahead of the final day. In Newcastle that is in the 11th place and West Ham that is in the 18th place. West Ham is fighting in the relegation while Newcastle could get into European football, but they have to see how Sunderland does, how Brentford does, and how Chelsea performs too. So they have to worry about their game winning and about 3 other teams not winning. So there's a low chance of that happening, but Newcastle is in the hunt till the last match day of this Premier League. And Anthony Gordon, that he is being missing for a couple of weeks with a minor hip injury. Gordon was left on the bench against West Ham. And at the same time, the manager, Eddie Howe, he hinted heavily that this is due to the ongoing 75 million transfer negotiations with Bayern rather than the physical fitness issue. For those that know, and for those that get it. But yes, there were some rumors of Anthony Gordon going to Bayern. So how most likely that will go through, we will see as the World Cup comes and after, because that's when a lot of transfer will take place. Most of the time, yes, there is transfers during the World Cup, yes, but most likely everything is solidified and done after the World Cup. But we will see how most likely that is to happen. Yes, we have seen the rumors, but in the end, nothing is said and done until it is. But then after that, we have an Arsenal against a Burnley, an Arsenal that 1-0 by the minimum, an Arsenal that move to the brink of their first Premier League title. More like, yes, they got their Premier League title. And after 22 years with high stakes, tense victory over Burnley at the Emirates Stadium, Kai Havertz scored the solitary goal for the match with a brilliant first half header, leaving the Gunners 5 points clear at the top of the table. Arsenal successfully restricted the visitors to 0 shots on target, leaving second place Manchester City under immense pressure to win their games in hand. But Arsenal, champions, stay first and claim their title that has been in the wait for so long. And Burnley is in the 19th place, and they are going to Championship football. Kai Havertz power home a header from a Bukayo Saka corner that, for those that watched the game, Bukayo just knew that was going in because his anticipation, it was jump of just festivities and happiness of knowing that it was a goal. But that strike marks Arsenal's 19th set piece of the goal of the set piece goal of the campaign. That strike marked Arsenal's 19th set piece goal of the campaign. This equals the all-time Premier League record for a 38-game season, providing just how lethal Arteta's side has become from dead ball situations. Yes, we spoke about that at the beginning of the season. It seemed like that was a way to manage the game for Arsenal. Yes, sometimes you have to do things to get to where you have to get, but at the same time, I said it before, when they're too obvious, people will realize and people will point them out. So if people do point them out, it's because it's true. When there's a saying that, you know, once three people tell you something, is because there is a reason why. You know, when they are trying to, of course, look out for you. But in this sports, yes, there's people that just judge to judge, but in reality, it was noticeable. But you got to do what you got to do to get to where you have to get. That's the reality of this. So, yes, was Arsenal micromanaging the game? Yes. Was Arsenal focusing and realizing that this was a way that could help their game? Yes. But in the end, they had to do what they had to get to where they want to get to. And they got to that Premier League title after 22 years, a whole decade. So congratulations to Arsenal. And congratulations to that resilient defensive football, showing that they are a defensive side. And yes, they focus on making sure that they do what they have to do and defend as well. And that's priority to this Arsenal team. But this Arsenal team shows a defensive dominance. Arsenal's success has been heavily credited in their league-leading defense. Again, with 19 clean sheets this season, David Raya has secured his third successive Golden Glove, providing the foundation for the club's championship run. So congratulations to Raya, congratulations to that defense, and that shows that defense can give you titles. Defending gives you titles. It's just how committed are you to show that you will play with that mentality. But this marks Arsenal's first Premier League title in 22 years, ending a club's long wait and just hopes since the legendary Invincible season 2003-2004. It also serves as a major milestone for manager Mikel Arteta after 3 consecutive seasons as runner-ups. And yes, a lot has been talked, yes, a lot has been said, yes, but in the end, whoever laughs better. The average age in this Arsenal team is 26 years old. Let's just put that out there. So just think about that. Most of these players either grew up watching the Invincibles team in that 2003-2004 season, or heard and were able to watch their highlights on YouTube. This is a generational inspiration after 22 years. It's a generational inspiration for players like Saka, Timber, Lewis Kelly. Players that are so young. Either they grew up watching this Invincibles team, or they heard things about them and they were able to see their highlights. Their average age in this Arsenal team is 26 years old. A lot of these players were 3-4 years old. So realistically, yes, some of them could have recognition of the Invincibles, or some of them heard and saw their highlights, like a Thierry, players like him, which marks a generational inspiration after 22 years. But congratulations to Arsenal once again. The resilience and the best defense got you what you have been waiting for. To this Arsenal fans and supporters, congratulations to y'all. But after that, we have a Bournemouth against a Manchester City, as we all know, a game that ended 1-1. This is the reason why Arsenal was able to claim their 2026 title, their 2025-2026 season title. But a Bournemouth that tied against a Manchester City. In a high-stakes encounter, Bournemouth held title challenge title challengers Man City to a draw at the Vitality Stadium. City dominated large portions of the game but could not find a second goal after the late equalizer from Haaland to overcome the resilient home side that found the lead through Junior Kropi in the 39th minute. This result represents a significant moment in the title race, impacting the standings at the very top and solidifying the outcome of the English Premier League. Bournemouth is in 6th place, Man City is in 2nd place. Is Pep's golden era really ending? It has been a massive talking point of the pitch. It has sent shockwaves through Manchester. Widespread reports have emerged indicating that the head coach, Pep, is highly expected to leave Manchester City in the end of the season, despite having a year left in his contract. And current rumors heavily link former Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca to the hot seat. So, now that we know that brings up the question of a very obvious question to a degree. Did the news affect the team performance in this specific game against Bournemouth? Knowing what was at stake, it just opens a conversation. In the end, if Arsenal and City kept performing the way that they were all the way to this match day 38, Arsenal was going to take the Premier League. But again, he's putting it out there. Many things can happen in football, yes. The question again is, did this news affect the team performance knowing what was at stake? Did the news of Pep Guardiola saying that he's leaving at the end of the season affect the performance against Bournemouth? To a degree, yes. But at the same time, something I have been taught is the job is never done. So, if the job is never done, you don't stop. Yes, you rest, but not while you're doing the job. That's all I can really say about this situation. But yes, we know Pep is leaving, generational manager, not only sending shockwaves because of this news, but also leaving shockwaves because he has been the mentor to so many managers out there. He found inspiration from Cruyff, bettered the game, enhanced the game, developed the game to a different way of being played, challenged the odds, changed the odds, and has been the mentor to so many that incorporate his theory of football and still have their own identity. We know many, many managers out there that were once the apprentice, you could say, to this Pep Guardiola, who has become the master of football nowadays. He changed Spanish football. Now he went on to England and has changed football. He dominated with Bayern and also changed the characteristic of their game to a degree. But Manchester City and Barcelona have been the pure showcase of what Pep has done with football. Challenging and changing how the game is played in those specific nations and how other managers have to adapt to his game. And that's something we have seen in this Premier League. Pep has changed the game. As we all seen, we know what Pep is all about. And then you have players like, you have managers like Arteta, who has learned from him, and Maresca, who have learned from him. And they take their theory, his theory, Pep Guardiola's theory of the game, and then they put their own touch of what they think football is too, but already enhanced with Pep Guardiola's theory of football. Pep is a generational manager who not only sends shockwaves, but leaves shockwaves in this beautiful game. He might be done with Manchester City, but I don't believe he is done with football, the beautiful game. Pep, good luck, wherever you go. We know you will change the odds and always challenge the game wherever you go. We know that for sure. But the last game of this match 37 is the Chelsea against the Tottenham. Chelsea the wins 2-1 against Tottenham, who lose and needed this win just to make sure that they stay in the Premier League. But that will come down to match day 38 for Tottenham. In this game, Chelsea wins 2-1. Chelsea emerged victorious in the London Derby at Stamford Bridge, with Enzo Fernandez and André Santos scoring the decisive goal for the Blues. Richarlison provided a late response for Tottenham, but the hosts held firm to secure the win. The match was defined by intensity, featuring multiple bookings for both sides. Chelsea is in 8th place and Tottenham is in the 17th place. Not done. Fighting. But a topic of conversation is Joao Pedro. The most high-profile tactical exclusion in Chelsea's forward, who recorded an impressive 23 goals and 6 assists across all competitions this season, including 15 league goals. Despite being a regular in Brazil's recent friendly squads, manager Carlo Ancelotti just opted for the veteran Neymar over Joao Pedro. That is I believe, a touchy subject. Yes, I can understand the love and nostalgia that Neymar brings to this Brazilian nation and this Brazilian squad. And at the end, in reality, some had to take the low blow. But all I can say is, let your game speak. This is nothing special. This can happen to many footballers out there, but just let your game speak. Joao Pedro, you had a great season. You just came to this Chelsea. You put decent numbers, kept yourself relevant, kept showing that you can and will. Just keep doing you, man. But the decision sparked significant controversy because Ancelotti reporters struggled with the choice, citing that they need the experience, and Neymar's fitness at the same time improved. But Pedro's exclusion was noted as a devastating blow, of course, especially given to his prolific form this season. But he maintained a professional stance, publicly supporting the team and the players, just publicly supporting the team and players. But at the same time, Ancelotti even throws in there that Endrick was a last-minute decision. So everybody will make whatever they want of this situation. Yes, it's understandable the nostalgia that Neymar brings to this Brazilian team and the love they have for him and what he means. It's understandable. Same thing could have happened with Kaká, Ronaldinho, Rivaldo, players like that, where they bring so much happiness and love to the national team that they were included for a World Cup. It's understandable, but it happens in football. This just, sets a little bit of an upsetting tone to a player that has been performing all season. But sometimes things are just unfair. What else can be said? But in this Premier League, the final relegation scrap is heating up for match day 38. While Burnley and Wolves are already condemned to the drop, the final relegation spot is in high stakes battle between Tottenham and West Ham. Following West Ham 3-1 defeat to Newcastle, they sit on 36 points in the 18th place, and Tottenham sits just above them on 38 points in the 17th place, giving them a slight edge, of course, but anything can happen as both teams try to preserve their top flight status on the final day. Tottenham just needs to tie. Why? Because Tottenham has a 10 goal difference against, which is a negative total, goal difference. But West Ham have a 22 negative goal difference that is against them. It's negative. It's not positive. So that's what it come down to. But the only way that West Ham can stay is West Ham winning and Tottenham losing. But that's what is the focus in this Premier League. And also the race for Europe. While the top four, Arsenal, Man City, Manchester United, and Aston Villa, have locked in their Champions League spots, the fight for the remaining Europa League and Conference League positions is extremely crowded. At the same time, yes, because of the European competition, awarding the Premier League an extra spot in the Champions League due to how many teams went through and how many teams qualified to all the European competitions. Liverpool stays in the 5th place, and they might be able to get to Champions League football for next season. But this Premier League match day 37 has concluded the champions of this season, of this 2025-2026 Premier League season. It concluded Arsenal officially being crowned champions for the first time in 22 years. The title was secure after Manchester City were held to a 1-1 draw by Bournemouth on the last game of this match day 37, leaving them 4 points behind Arsenal with only one game remaining. Earlier in the match day, Arsenal has strengthened their position at the top of the table with a narrow 1-0 win over Burnley. Meanwhile, Chelsea move up to 8th place in the standings after defeating Tottenham 2-1 at Stamford Bridge. These results finalize the top of the table, and Gunners are at 82 points in the first place, and they have become the champions of this Premier League. And the last fixtures for this Premier League will take place on May 24th for match day 38, and that will conclude the Premier League, just to solidify who stays in the relegation and who goes to Championship football. It is between West Ham and Tottenham, and at the same time, match day 38 will give us what the teams qualifying to Europe will be. But this is all for this Premier League that keeps creating headlines, titles, points of discussion, questions. That's the Premier League. And that's all for today. For those that don't know, esto es Pase Ambidiestro, Ambidextrous Pass, Fútbol Honestamente, Soccer, Football Honestly. And for all those that are always here, thank you. Please like and subscribe. Have a great day.